All right. So whenever we are doing, Adia, are you there? Whenever we are going through the structures, basically, the important point is that you keep in mind that all of these structures, they have their adaptations, and most of the times, this is what we are learning in A levels and in IGCSEs. This is what we learn: the adaptations of these structures, inshallah. That how this, what is the structure and their adaptation, inshallah. Okay. So let's start with. Are you there? Following.
जी
So we have transport. In plants, flowering plants, right? Okay. So when we talk about transport structures, that basically we are going to be studying just the mind map for this topic is going to be we are going to be studying uh, the two structures for transport structures that are there. Basically, is xylem and phloem. All right. Together they are called phloem. Basically, let's phloem is basically together they are called vascular bundles. All right. Together is called vascular bundles, and we find that in the leaves and the stems. So phloem is actually two. It has two components. It has sieve tube elements, sieve tubes, and companion cells. All right. This is the mind map that you would have to. We are going to be going through in this topic. All right. What needs to be discussed for these two things? Structure, function, and adaptation. Position also. Position, where they're placed, how are they found in the leaf, how they are found in roots, like that. All right, this is what we are going to be doing. Another thing that is there in this topic is the transport of water. All right, the transport of water and translocation. Transport of water and translocation. These are the two things. All right, I think because transport of water is related to xylem. Complete complete process. Complete process. All right, and translocation, which is what? Movement of nutrients. It is related to phloem. All right, this is the summary of all of this topic. So we have to learn the and the third thing obviously is going to be transpiration, because this is also a process, something involved with the movement of water, the transport of water. All right, this is the mind map. This is what we are going to be doing. These mind maps are important in two ways. Number one, it helps you make notes. It helps you understand the exam paper as well. All right. If any of these things come, if you come across any question in the exam from which has any of such content, you will be able to understand immediately that the topic it was from the transport in plants. All right. Helps develop a lot of things, photographic memory and a lot of things. All right. So is this clear? Are you writing this
yes
down?
नहीं।
I want you to write this down जल्दी से quickly.
अच्छा।
All right, transport system. Why is there the important point that we have to remember here? We have already done that. When we talk about transport system, why is transport system necessary? Why is there why is there a need for a transport system? We have already done that in multicellular organisms. In multicellular organisms, nutrients need to be transported and waste products need to be removed. But in multicellular organisms, basically you can say in organisms, nutrients need to be transported and waste product need to be removed, right? Transported to cells. They need to be transported to cells and they need to be removed from cells and taken out of the body, right? In unicellular organisms are directly in contact to the external environment. So they do not need a complex transport system. But we know unicellular organisms are in direct contact with external environment, right? Let's say this is an amoeba, a unicellular organism. It can directly exchange material. It can directly get nutrients, oxygen, and or whatever food, whatever it needs from directly external
हम्म।
environment, right?
जी।
Remove carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste, whatever it is, the fecal matter directly outside, right? But in multicellular organisms, this is not possible. Why? The cells are all clustered up, they're all joined together, they are not in contact with external environment, right? Multicellular organisms do not have their cells in direct contact with the external environment, right? So what do they do? So what takes place? They need to have, they need a transport system, right? They need to have a transport system that can do what? That can take all the uh, waste. Which what type of waste? Metabolic waste, right? Metabolic waste. What is a metabolic waste? The waste that comes from the cellular activity, right? Metabolic waste of cellular activity, right? Right? Right, if any of the substances are hydrolyzed, they need to be removed. The dead material, the pus cells, the bacteria, the pus, everything, right? Carbon dioxide, other than nitrogenous waste products like urea and all of that, creatinine, they need to be removed. They can take all the waste to excretory organs that can be removed, that can be removed from body, right? Or parallel to that, they also need transport system that takes the nutrients to each cell, right? To each cell, because the cell is not in direct contact with the environment, cannot really directly take things, oxygen and all of those things directly from the environment. There need to be organs which are going to do that, and then take all of those nutrients, all of those like oxygen, whatever they need to the cells, right? Need a transport system. So transport systems, like an example of such systems are many. If you talk about animals, we have uh, blood circulatory system, right? That transport in animals, this blood circulatory system is the one that is making sure that every cell is getting the nutrients, and every cell is able to completely remove and effectively, efficiently remove his waste products that can be taken away from them, right? And does not builds up in the body. And these circulatory systems, blood circulatory system, can have many other components like heart, blood, vessels, right? These are the components. Similarly, we have respiratory, a gas exchange system, right? Gas exchange system. We also have in parallel to serving the same purpose as the blood circulatory system does in animals. In plants, we also have a transport system, right? This transport system is actually called vascular tissues that perform this transport system. The components are the vascular tissues or the vascular system, right? Vascular tissues, they consist of two important type of uh, tissues, xylem, and then we have phloem. Together, they are called vascular bundle or vascular tissues, right? They're responsible for transportation in the plant. Generally, xylem takes water, and phloem is associated with translocation. Translocation is the movement of nutrients. Is this clear? Why do we need the transport system? Example of transport system, all of it is here. We're not going, we're just going to go just discuss, not write anything when we are discussing transportation in animals or transport in animals, because the need for transport system is already clear now, right? And this is a need. All of these systems, the transport systems generally are for multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms do not need any such complex system. Is this clear, Hadia? How much have you written? Are you following writing?
जी
Right. Are you done writing? Well, let me know when you're done. You done?
Done.
Very good. Right, so let's discuss. For each of these components, we are going to be discussing their position or location, their appearances. We're going to be discussing their function and their adaptation and structure. So let's start with the xylem vessel, right? Xylem tissue, right? Xylem. So xylem, when we talk about functions, number one, functions, number one, it has two functions in general. Number one, it conduct transports water and dissolved mineral salts from roots roots to the stems and leaves, right? We are going to be seeing something that I missed writing over there was, we generally look at it, the transportation in plants generally is from roots to leaves and from leaves to rest of the plant. We're going to be seeing these are the two, or rest of the plant, the two ways. Substances are going this way and there are substances that are going this way. We'll talk about that inshallah. So the main function of xylem vessel is to transport water and dissolved mineral salts from root to the stems and leaves. This transportation is unidirectional, something that is of immense importance. Unidirectional. You will be asked about this a lot. It can only travel, which means only move one way. Can only move in one direction. That is what? That is upwards. Or you can say from root to leaf. It cannot go down. Substances, things cannot travel down the xylem vessel. Okay? They can travel upwards or sideways. We'll discuss that. Inshallah. It's only one direction, this movement. Third important point when we talk about function is provides mechanical support to the plant. Provides mechanical support to the plant or for the plant? No, no. Is it clear? The function. Should we move ahead, Adil? So
जी
this is all about the function. The second important point we had to discuss was structure, which is the one of the most important ones. Structure. When we talk about structure, tissues consist of xylem vessels. Right? What are xylem vessels? The xylem vessel are long, number one, long, then hollow tubes. Long hollow tubes. Right? Long hollow tubes stretching from root to leaf. Right? It's a long hollow tube. All right. So what is it? Right. So it has long hollow tubes. Now, the xylem vessel is made up of dead cells. They have lignin deposits in the inner side of xylem vessel. Right. So in other words, we can say so what is lignin? It is called. So the xylem wall, it is also said that xylem vessel has lignified wall. Xylem has lignified walls. Now, what is lignin? We talk about lignin. Basically, it is a waterproof substance. It's a complex substance. Okay. Waterproof complex substance. It deposits on the cell wall and causes the cell to die. The cell to die. Why? Because if the lignin has deposited, let's say this is the lignin, if the lignin has started depositing in the cell wall, what is going to happen? It will no longer be able to exchange water, right? This is a waterproof substance that is going to block everything. You understand? This blocks everything. So nothing can enter now. Nothing can enter the cell wall. Gradually, what is going to happen? The cell will start to die because it requires water and nutrients. It is not going to receive that due to the deposit of lignin. It's going to start to die. So the cells basically are present like this, and they have in between they have something called plasmodesmatas, which kind of forms connections between them. So between the cells. So what happens when the lignin starts to develop? It develops in all of it, causing the cell to die. This this middle part starts to go away, and it starts to become a hollow wall of the dead cells, right? So this forms, the lumen becomes hollow tube of dead cells. You understand, Hadia? Is this clear?
G.
So there are different patterns in which this lignin deposits, right? Sometimes the lignin they deposit in spiral forms like this. Uh, the deposition is like this, like this. It goes there, like this. Sometimes their deposition is like this. Sometimes they deposit, but there are certain places where they do not get deposited, so they form pits of no lignin deposition, right? So the pits they become unlignified, and rest of it is dignified. I'll draw those. So it deposits on the cell wall and causes a cell to die. That results that results into a hollow tube. All right. So then we have patterns of now makes it this lignin makes xylem proof. The xylem makes the xylem free of any leakages of water, and also strengthens the vessel. All right. It also gives more strength to the vessel. This lignin. Is this clear? So there are patterns of lignin deposit. Patterns of patterns of lignin deposit. It could be in ring form. All right. Lignin deposited in rings. This is the lignin deposit. Then we have the spiral bands. Spiral bands. Right. So this is the lignin deposit. Spiral bands. The lignin can deposit in a pitted form. Pitted form. Pitted. The whole of it is going to be lignified except for instead of these regions, all of this is lignified, but these regions are non-lignified. Is making sense?
जी
It will be different. Depends upon the it depends upon the species and all the environment, everything. The spiral, pitted, and rings. Three patterns of deposition. All right. The last is the adaptation. Adaptation of xylem vessel. The third point, the adaptation of xylem vessel. Right. So it has empty lumen for faster transport and un and unresisted transport. Right. Lignin